Good morning, it's Saturday the 16th of October and it's great to be back. I've certainly missed coming on for the last 2 Saturdays. We had technology issues with our laptop, it had to be sent away to get fixed, but we're back and we're raring to go, and I hope you all have been keeping well. Hope you listened into my Ben's show. What a great show, and happy birthday to Deepa. Hope you have a wonderful day from Barash and I and everyone here at BHF Radio. Happy Navratri and Dasara to all those who are celebrating, and of course Sharad Punam in advance. How many of you tuned into Gar Gar Navratri? Did you have a good time? Whether you were watching online or attended any Garba events face to face. I went last Saturday to my local one here in London, and it was good. It was great. It wasn't too packed. It was reasonably numbers, and it was really maintained really well in terms of COVID safety regulations, and I'm really glad I had the opportunity to go. I think it was really missed last year, and but I also enjoyed the online events. Well, it's October, and October is such a busy month. There's so many things happening. Of course, we just said Navratri, but also it's World Blindness Awareness Month, which it was World Sight Day on Thursday the 14th of October. And this year's theme was Love Your Eyes, and just important message to share that please get your eyes checked regularly. We did several radio shows and some workshops that some of you may have attended on the importance of getting your eyes checked regularly. It was World White Cane Safety Day, and the white cane, for those of you who may not know, is the white stick that blind and partially sighted people use to help them get out and about and detect obstacles. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we've done shows on the importance of just being aware of your mental health, signs and symptoms, and taking time out for yourself and not feeling guilty for doing so. It was Baby Loss Awareness Week this week, and yesterday I know there were a couple of events around the UK where candles were being lit for those babies that have sadly passed away. It was Braille Awareness Week. Braille is the language that blind and partially sighted people use to read. It's the raised dots. And today we are focusing on breast cancer awareness. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and my guest this morning, Tracy Collard, will be coming on shortly, and we'll be discussing signs, symptoms, but also screening services. What can women do to get their breast checked in case they think they have detected anything abnormal. So before we introduce Tracy to the show, let's hear our first track of the day.
Hey, oh.
Gungat Mejan, taken from the film Khubsarat, played for you this morning on BHF Radio. Before we introduce our guest, if any of you would like to get in touch, ask questions or share any messages, then you can email me bhavini@bhfradio.org.uk, or you can download the BHF Radio app and you can put your messages into shout-outs and dedications, and that will come straight to us. So, welcome Tracy, good morning, and welcome to BHF Radio.
Good morning, and thanks for letting me come along today.
No worries, our pleasure. Before we go into the talk, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Tracy Collard, and I'm the Cancer Screening Improvement Lead, and I work for the Bolton Berry and Rochdale Breast Screening Programme. So my actual job role is to try and increase the amount of ladies that attend their breast screening appointments, as well as providing health education around being breast aware.
Yeah, very interesting. And you know, before we go into the main bulk of the conversation about the breast screening, I really wanted to sort of just be clear. Many women at a younger age are being diagnosed with breast cancer. What kind of signs or symptoms could we look out for?
Well, the thing that I would say is that we all need to be checking ourselves every month. So what I suggest is you look in a mirror once a month and get to know what your breasts actually look like, because that's something that women don't actually do on a regular basis. So look in a mirror, see what you look like, and then you need to be feeling all around your breast, including around the nipple area and underneath the armpits. So some of the things to look out for would be a lump or a swelling in the breast, the upper chest or the armpit, and you might feel a lump but you might not actually see it. A change to the skin, such as puckering or dimpling, a change in the colour of the breast, so the breast might look red or inflamed, a change to the nipple, for example, if it's become inverted. Also, things to look out for are a rash or crusting around the nipple, any unusual liquid, so some sort of discharge that comes from either of the nipples, and if they seem to change size or shape. Also, if you have pain in your breast, although that doesn't necessarily mean that that's breast cancer. And I must say that all of these things, even if you develop any of these things I've just mentioned, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have breast cancer, but it's really important that you get checked out. And just one other thing is that men can also get breast cancer. It's a very low number, and in the UK, it's approximately 390 men a year will be diagnosed with breast cancer, compared to about 54,000 women. But men also don't realise that they should also be checking their chests each month, and if they see or feel anything that's unusual, I would suggest that they contact their GP as well.
Yeah, interesting. So this is really for men and women to be aware of. So if someone would, you know, suspect, say they find a change and they're really not sure whether it could be anything serious, or they think, oh, okay, you know, it's just, I don't know, a spot or a rash and it'll go away, what would you advise that they first initially would do?
I would say no matter how small it is or how insignificant you might think it to be, please contact your GP. It probably won't be anything at all, but in the very rare case that it might be, at least hopefully it will be caught quite early, and then you can have treatment. So no matter how silly you feel by going to your doctor over something very small, they will understand and they'll get you sent to the breast unit, and then you can get some tests and hopefully it will be nothing.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to just sort of say again that no matter how small or, you know, how likely you think it could be something or nothing, it's always best to get that reassurance and get it checked out, because if it does turn out to be something, it's your chances are much better if it's detected early, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and you mentioned about the breast screening program. Like, who's entitled to that? How do people get onto that service?
Well, it's a national program and it invites women, excuse me, who are registered as a female with their GP practice every 3 years from the age of 50 to 70. So you won't automatically be invited until you reach the age of 50. And it really does depend which GP practice you're with, whether you're invited at age 50 or it could be when you're 52 for the first time, because it goes in a 3 year cycle. So if you get to sort of 51 and you've not been invited, don't think that you've been missed. It will just be that your GP practice hasn't actually got to their round time yet. And then you will be invited every 3 years from that date. Once you get to the age of 70, you don't automatically get invited anymore, but you can still go for breast screening if you want to. And all you need to do is contact your local breast screening office and they can book you in.
And what if you happen to be sort of, in your 40s or maybe your late 30s? Is that something available to women of that age?
It's only available if if breast cancer is in your family history.
Right.
So if you've got a mother or a sister or a grandmother that have all had breast cancer, you will be invited to go for yearly mammograms. But unless it's within your family history, you won't get invited until the age of 50.
Right, understood. Yeah, so your first, if you are, your first point of call would be your GP initially. And if you're at the age of 50 or above, then the breast screening appointments will come to you eventually. But if you're younger, then of course you may be invited if there's a family history of breast cancer.
Yes.
Okay, stay with us, Tracy. We're going to go to our next track. We've had a question come in and we'll get to those as soon as we've come back from this track from Love Yatri. Doli Da Dola Vage from the film Ilav Yatri, one of my favorite tunes. Apologies for earlier, you must have heard my guide dog barking in the background. We had a delivery, so the doorbell rang, and of course he wanted to let us know, so apologies for that. Before we come back to Tracy, we have had a question come in from Rita. In the last 7 to 8 years, I've had lump spots underneath my armpits. She's had them checked out, and she's been told they're cysts. Recently, about 2-3 months ago, she had the same. She didn't get it checked out, and it disappeared after 2-3 weeks. But then on the opposite side, she's developed a rash, and she's tried to get GP appointments, and she's been struggling to get a hold of her GP for the last few weeks. Can you advise if in the current situation it's a struggle to get an appointment with your GP, what would be your next best option?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed that she is struggling to get hold of her GP. She really does need to be referred from a GP. She can't just phone the breast screening office, I'm afraid. What I would do is keep on with the GP and tell them that you've listened to this program today and that you've been advised that you need to be referred to the breast unit because you have some concerns and you've had problems in the past. And I would keep on and on at your GP until somebody does refer you. I'm sorry, that's the best advice I can give, really.
Yeah, I hope that helps Rita, and best of luck on getting in touch with your GP. I know how difficult it's been here as well. I think that's the case all over the UK at the moment, but please do keep on trying. So Tracy, you mentioned you work around Manchester and Rochdale area. Like where are the services for screening in your area of work?
So I cover Bolton, Bury and Rochdale, which also covers Haywood and Middleton. And we have 4 sites that ladies can go to. So there's one at Bolton Hospital, one at Bolton 1 in the centre of Bolton, and one at Radcliffe Primary Care Centre in Bury, and one at Nye Bevan House in Rochdale. Now, across the country, lots of other areas have mobile units that they move around different areas when they do breast screening. We don't actually have those. All of ours are in health centres or in the hospital. But depending where you live in the country, there will be lots of areas that you can go to, or there will be the mobile units as well.
So would it be the best, if anyone listening to this show that, is not from Manchester and maybe from, I don't know, Birmingham or London or Milton Keynes, wherever they may be based, a quick Google search would sort of let them know where their sort of nearest breast screening service centre would be?
Yes, absolutely. If you just Google breast screening services near me, it will tell you your local office that will be dealing with it. And it usually tells you when, if it's a mobile unit, when it's going to be in particular areas, so that you'll know if you live in a certain area, you will know roughly when that mobile unit is going to be in that area for you, or when it's going to be at a health centre near to where you live. If you have any concerns, I would just suggest speak to the screening office, although when you receive a letter asking you to book an appointment, it will tell you there where you can book, where it's going to be held at.
Right, yeah. And also, Tracy, I mean, do you think that sometimes women, and of course men that we touched upon earlier, are maybe reluctant in booking that appointment, maybe first, thinking, oh, it could be nothing, but then other emotions come into play? Like, what would you say to kind of encourage someone to, make that appointment?
Well, I think some of the barriers for people making appointments are, first of all, they don't believe that they're at risk. So if they haven't felt a lump or seen a lump, they think there's nothing to worry about. A lot of ladies are embarrassed to go because you do need to take your top off from the waist upwards. Although I must say that if you wear a headscarf, you can keep that on.
Okay.
But a lot of people are embarrassed because it is embarrassing, but it's literally for a few minutes. some people think it's they don't understand how important it is to go along for screening. And then there's other things like the time and the location. So most screening is done between 9 and 5. We do some extra additional Saturday appointments. I'm not sure if that happens across the country, but I'm sure it does.
Mm-hmm.
It can be things like work commitment, family commitments. Language barriers is a big problem. So if people don't speak English, they don't feel comfortable to go to their appointment. And all of the letters that go out will always be in English. Now, on our website and on lots of other websites, there are information leaflets in other languages. So if somebody does receive a letter that they're not quite sure about, if perhaps a family member can translate that for them in the first place, but then if they Google breast screening, again, they will get that in different languages, which will help them. And on our website, we do have little video clips in different languages. So we've just done one that's got Urdu subtitles, there's Polish, there's lots of different languages. So there is information out there to help people, but I suppose you need to know where to look for it in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really good to hear that actually, you know, people that may find English is not their first language or find it difficult to actually speak or understand, that there's other resources available in various languages. That's really good to hear. And in terms of maybe attending appointments, is there kind of similar support if they attend appointments?
Yes, if somebody doesn't speak English, we can organise a translator as long as they let us know beforehand which language they speak.
Yeah.
If somebody has a learning disability, all of the letters actually go out to them in an easy read format. So at least they should be able to understand the letter a bit more. And when they come to the appointment, they can bring a carer with them. And somebody who has a physical disability can also bring a carer with them that can help throughout the appointment. And my role is also to support women as well. So if somebody's a bit anxious about going, if it's the first time that they're going for their breast screening, I'm more than happy to meet them at one of our units and just give them a friendly face and a bit of support before they actually go in.
That's really lovely to hear. Yeah, that's such a good service. Tracy, stay with us. We're going to go to our next track, which is from Priti Vasani.
तारे कर बेगुम हुसैन सोरी बान बोला वो रे आउ तो ओरी आंख लेटी नी तेजाली से दोरी हर मोरी वो है आजे रीत तू भी सीख ले डोली डालो ते अकीत से ताली पड़ी ने तू ही चले
Hi everyone, this is Navin Kundra and you're listening to the one and only Bhavini Makwana here on BHF Radio. This is the best Saturday morning show on the planet, so keep it locked.
That was Doli Da Dolar Vagare from Priti Vastani and Planet Pale. A message from Anita Barrett to say she cannot stress enough the importance of getting your breasts checked, checking them regularly at home, and if you find any changes, then make that call to your GP. If women are afraid that they're going to get a male GP, you can request a female one, just like I did. It's coming up to 4 years next month where she took that plunge, made that appointment, and the early appointment that she made detected something, and she has been cancer free 4 years next month. And she just wants to say a message to Rita, the earlier lady that messaged in. Please get in touch with your GP, and if you have to go down there, do whatever you can to make that appointment. Thank you so much, Anita, for sharing your story and for messaging in. Tracy, you mentioned that you support women that English may not be their first language, or those who have learning disability, but you actually have a story that you'd like to share of how this can be done.
Yes, I've got a couple of stories actually.
Yeah.
There was a lady who had a learning disability who came along for a mammogram, and something was detected on the mammogram, so the radiographer tried to get her to come back so that we could do some further investigations, but the lady just kept cancelling her appointment, so we kept sending out letters and she just didn't turn up, or she'd cancel. So after a few weeks, I was involved in the case because that's part of my role. Mm-hmm. So I phoned the lady and she said, yes, I'll come back. And she didn't come back. So eventually I got the learning disability nurse at the hospital involved, and we spoke to the lady on the phone, and eventually she agreed for us to go out and talk to her. So we went out and we spoke to her about the process and what might happen if she came back. And we asked her why she hadn't come back in the first place. And the main reason was that she was scared. She was scared of what might be found when she came back. So we did a lot of work with this lady, and she eventually agreed to come back to the hospital as long as myself and the learning disability nurse and her partner was there at the visit. Now, during COVID, we weren't allowing people to come with you. You had to come on your own, but we felt this was really important to enable this lady to come back. So we agreed to it. The lady came back. She had another mammogram. They actually did an ultrasound scan, and they did see a lump. So they actually took a biopsy of the lump, and they did all of this in one appointment. And the good news is that it was nothing serious. It was just some calcium that had built up into her breast, but it could have been a completely different outcome. And I felt so proud that myself and the learning disability nurse had worked with this lady and made sure that she came back. And that's one good story that I wanted to share with you today, really.
Yeah, no, that is, and it's good to know that there is, members of staff working in this area to support women who may be going through multiple different things, anxiety, stress, just worry, language barriers, whatever it may be, that actually there is support, additional support out there. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for doing your job. You mentioned you had a few stories. Do you want to share another?
Yes, another lady had been invited to come along for breast screening, and she decided that she didn't want to come. So, excuse me. So she just said, "No, I'm not going to come." And her friend had also received an invitation and said, "Well, I'm going along for breast screening. Why don't you come with me and we'll go together?" But the lady kept saying, I really don't want to go. I don't want to know if there's anything wrong with me. Eventually, her friend persuaded her to go with her. So they both made their appointments and they both went along on the same day. The lady that didn't want to go, unfortunately, it was seen on the mammogram that something wasn't right, so they called her back and she actually had breast cancer. But the good news is that it was caught at quite an early stage and she had treatment and she's now cancer free. Now, if her friend hadn't persuaded her to come back, I don't know what would have happened. She probably might not be with us today. So that's why it's so important that when ladies do receive a letter, no matter how scared they are or how anxious they might be, it really is worth going along for that mammogram. It literally takes a few minutes. You'll be in the whole unit for less than half an hour, and the actual mammograms take seconds, and it can save your life. So it really is important.
For anyone who may not be aware what a mammogram is, can you share more information on that?
Yes, of course. So a mammogram is really, it's an x-ray. So if you've ever had an x-ray, if you've broken a bone or they think you've broken a bone, it's exactly the same. It's a machine. I won't lie to you, it's not the most pleasant experience. It can be quite uncomfortable, but the mammographers will do 4 x-rays, so 2 on each breast, and they do 1 from top to bottom, and they do have to squash your breast quite a lot to make sure that they can see inside your breast properly. And then they do 1 from the side, and again they'll squash your breast into the side. All of the ladies that do the mammograms, there will always be a female. You will never ever have a man do it, so that's something to bear in mind. A lot of people think that it might be a male. It will never be a male. You will always be given an explanation of what is going to happen before it happens. And as I say, it literally takes seconds. And once you've had your mammogram, you will receive your results within 2 weeks. And most people, it will just be that everything was okay, and then you'll be recalled again in 3 years' time. On the very rare occasion that you might be asked to come back, it might be that the image might not have been very clear, so it might be that you moved at the very last minute, so it's just a bit fuzzy, so they might want to redo the mammograms. Sometimes they might want to have another look if they've just seen something, so they might do another mammogram. They may even do an ultrasound scan and a biopsy. But even if all of these things happen to you, that still doesn't mean that you've got cancer. It will be very, very small numbers of ladies that actually develop cancer. And if they do, hopefully it will have been caught at such an early stage that they can receive treatment and then they'll be well.
Thank you, Tracy. We've just had a message from Jagdish Bhai Pankania, who said that he sadly lost his wife and sister to breast cancer. So as a male, as a man, he really does want to encourage and share that actually if you think there may be anything different, please go and book your appointment. Thank you, Jagdish Bhai. That's very...
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely, and condolences to you for your wife and your sister. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing, sharing these stories, but actually more information about the service and the importance of getting your breast checked by yourself and of course by professionals. Is there anything else you would like to share?
All I would say is please don't be scared. If you do receive a letter asking you to book an appointment, please book it. If you are really anxious, contact your local screening department, and I'm sure there will be somebody like myself who would be happy to talk to you about the process, come along and meet you at the unit and give you a bit of reassurance. But please don't put it off. It literally can save your life. And 1,400 deaths a year are saved by the National Breast Screening Programme. If you'd like any further information, you can look on our website, which is boltonft.nhs.uk, and if you look under breast services, there's lots and lots of information on there, things in different languages, things about disabilities, there's video clips, there's booklets, there's lots and lots of information. And please just keep sharing, please talk about it. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we want everybody to be aware of how simple this test can be that can literally save your life. And thank you for having me on today.
No, our pleasure. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much for coming on BHF Radio this morning and sharing those important messages. We're going to our next track and we'll be right back after this song from Life Partner. Gunjdi Angna from Love Yatri. Yes, sorry. Tracy is back with us, and we've got a few more minutes which Tracy wanted to share some further information. Tracy, over to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that part of my role is supporting GP practices. So when ladies are sent invitations from their GP practice, I work alongside them to try and support ladies. And I recently worked with one of our GP practices in Rochdale, where the majority of the patients didn't speak English. So obviously the letters all go out in English, as I mentioned before. So what happened was the practice manager actually contacted all of the ladies that had received a letter and spoke to them in their language and explained how important it was to go for breast screening. And she asked if she could book an appointment on their behalf. So she did that. She used to send me daily emails asking me to book appointments for these ladies. And the end result of that was that a lot of ladies went for their breast screening, which wouldn't have gone otherwise because they couldn't really understand the letter. They didn't really know what was involved. And that meant that more ladies went for their breast screening, and that literally, again, could have saved somebody's life. So that is something that I'm writing up as a good practice example, really. And every time I go to another GP practice now, I'll share that with them. And then if they have people that don't speak English, I'm asking them if they can get a member of staff to contact the ladies, talk to them in their language, and organise the bookings of the appointments. And hopefully that will get more ladies to come along for breast screening that wouldn't have already done it. So I just think that's really important.
Absolutely, it is, and I really do hope that's, you know, being reciprocated across the UK, because it's so important. There's such a diverse community in different parts of the UK, and I think whatever that can be done to support women, to encourage them, to give them that just sort of, you know, guidance and hand, that you're not alone. If that gets them through the doors and making that appointment and getting their breast checked, you know, it's a fantastic and fabulous thing, and it can save, as you said, so many lives. So yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tracy, and I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this with us.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And we are going to our next track, and I did want to sorry, I paused a little bit before that Gunjdi Angna song. It's not from Love Yatri, it's Life Partner, and that's what I was trying to quickly find out. So it's from Life Partner. We'll go to our next song before we say our final goodbyes thereafter. So the next song is Girls Like to Swing.
जगमगाती लड़कियां, ये झिलमिलाती लड़कियां, जिनके दीवाने तुम भी तो हो। हंसती गाती लड़कियां, खिलखिलाती लड़कियां, चाहती सब क्या है ये सुनो। इन सब के मन, इनकी धड़कन, सुनो जरा सपने क्या है, इन आँखों में दिल में है क्या अरमान। Girls like to swing. जरा आगे निकल के, नए रंगों में ढल के, अंदाज बदल के, मस्ती में है जीना, जीवन रस पीना, ये बात हुई ना, शर्माना नहीं ना। गीतों की बरसात हो, गाए पल पल ये जिंदगी। पिघले पिघले तन बदन, खोया खोया सा हो ये मन, छाए छाए हो दिलकशी। हो थर थराहट सी, हो सनसनाहट सी, कि सांस सांस में खुलासा हो अजीब सा नशा। Girls like to swing. जरा आगे निकल के, नए रंगों में ढल के, अंदाज बदल के, ये हिचकिचाना नहीं है, मस्ती में है जीना, जीवन रस पीना, ये बात हुई ना, ये अब शर्माना नहीं है। जगमगाती लड़कियां, ये झिलमिलाती लड़कियां, जिनके दीवाने तुम ही तो हो। हंसती गाती लड़कियां, ये खिलखिलाती लड़कियां, चाहती सब क्या है ये सुनो। इन सब के है मन, इनकी धड़कन, सुनो जरा सपने क्या है इन आंखों में, दिल में है क्या अरमान। Girls like to swing. जरा आगे निकल के, नए रंगों में ढल के, अंदाज बदल के, ये हिचकिचाना नहीं है, मस्ती में है जीना, जीवन रस पीना, ये बात हुई ना, ये अब शर्माना नहीं है। जरा जरा आगे निकल के, नए नए रंगों में ढल के, चलो अंदाज बदल के, ये हिचकिचाना नहीं है। Gotta swing swing, yeah swing swing, let's swing swing, swing.
Girls like to swing, and thank you so much for listening to us on BHF Radio this morning. We spoke to Tracy Collard from the breast screening service up in Manchester, but of course there are screening services all over the UK, so no matter your age, whether you're male or female, please do check, and if you suspect, make that appointment early. Please make that appointment. If you're struggling to get hold of your GP, do whatever you can to get an appointment as soon as you possibly can. That's it for today. We'll be back next week with a different topic, and if you have a conversation, if you have a topic you want us to cover, or whether you would like to come on and share something you are doing that will benefit our community, then please do get in touch with me, Bhavini, at bhfradio.org.uk, and we'll be happy to have a discussion with you. We want to cover topics that we don't necessarily talk about, we find it difficult, but of course to raise awareness of different things that we should be thinking about, being aware of. So please get in touch if you have any topics you would like us to cover. It is coming up to Diwali. But yes, I know we've got Sharad Puram first, and just wondered what everyone was going to be doing for Diwali this year. There's plenty of events being hosted in person just next week, the 23rd, I believe, next Saturday. Here in London, Trafalgar Square, it's got Diwali on the Square event, so if anyone's interested, you can find out more by going to Diwali on the Square website, and you can find out more information about stalls, performances and timings. We're leaving you today with our final song. It is a song that has got a bit of a James Bond 007 theme tune, just because we have the new film that's been released. Has anyone seen it? I won't give anything away, but if you haven't, it's definitely a good film to watch. And Boris, you're a big fan of 007. What was it called?
No Time to Die is the latest 007 film.
And that was the last film that Daniel Craig was being featured in. So if you haven't seen it, and even if you haven't seen previous James Bond films, you don't really need to. If you want to go and check it out, then it's in cinemas at the moment. So goodbye from us, and we'll see you next week, and we're leaving you with this track, a little bit of a theme tune to 007.